Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I am here with my beloved husband, Jonathan, and we are going to be diving into this topic of how to start trusting men again, because I know a lot of you are feeling, especially right now with everything that's been going on in the world, everything that's been being revealed, a lot of you are feeling extra mistrustful and with good reason. So we're going to talk about how to actually start trusting men again. And this is really, especially if you are a woman who is desiring to get engaged, who is desiring to get married to your husband. And, you know, this is something that we specialize in our work. But like one of the things that we've noticed in the conversation just over the last week, but it's been a theme that's been escalating over, years now.
Yes,
it's just like this lack of, like, everybody being suspicious of everyone.
Yeah.
And it's creating a lot of issues in people's dating lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when Claudia said women are suspicious of men these days, and I said rightfully so, I also brought up that men are suspicious of women too.
Yeah.
And I brought up a number of cultural things going on. If just put an adjective in front of masculinity in the cultural context, and it's not what most men are, nor is it the type of men we're looking for. We're looking for good masculinity.
Healthy men.
Not what the New York Times is putting out there. So men, a lot of them are defended in this, but there's a total way, if the culture wars are going like this, there's a way to meet people in the middle. They want to unify and find common ground, especially in the glory of getting married.
And it's funny too, because we do want to be discerning, right? Like, we don't want to trust all men. Like, we would never say that like all men are good, just like all women are not good, right? There's good men, and then there's men who are not good, right? Or men that you just wouldn't want to marry, right? And then there's women, same issues, right? Toxic femininity, just as toxic masculinity. These are real things, but we believe that we need to get out of this atmosphere, or like extract ourselves from this atmosphere of suspicion. Because when you're in suspicion, you actually, often what we've seen is women who are very suspicious of men, they become hypervigilant. And they become very like guarded, and they become very prickly and walled towards men. And so even if in their heart of hearts, they do want to be married, they do want a husband, they do want that beautiful union with their beloved, because they're carrying around the suspicion, whether it's from the culture or whether it's kind of compounded from past relationships where they're carrying wounding, or even their childhood, right? This is one of those things that often creates like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So if a woman has suspicion towards men, she will have her walls up. She will be scanning for red flags. She will be scanning for what's wrong with him, right? Why doesn't any man meet me? Why doesn't anyone match my standards? When it's, understandably, right? Depending on what you've been through, this is an understandable thing to do. But we want to get you out of suspicion, because suspicion creates more suspicion, right? And if you're always your brain is always scanning for something to be suspicious of, you're always going to find something, even if you're with a really great man. And this is one of the things that I hate about our culture that we're living in right now. It's just like, we're trained to see anything that is masculine as just inherently bad, or inherently toxic, or inherently suspicious. And yet we don't realize as women how deeply, and I believe this is true of men, how deeply as well, but like how deeply we need each other, and how deeply we as women need men. We need masculine men. We need good masculine men. To complement us.
Yeah, and I have the other issue.
And to survive and thrive in this world.
Absolutely. And there's a societal thing. I also have an issue with a lot of ladies. Anything masculine is good, and we'll get into this later, and they make mistakes, and they trust the wrong men because he was masculine. So we're going to look at the different sides of the pendulum, what point. People are doing, and how to move through. I call it the gauntlet of being single to married and in a sacred union. I mean, we would say we've been together for 11 years, I believe.
12 years. 12 we just did 12 years.
Yeah, we just had our anniversary, but you were out of town, so hard to celebrate. And I think we're each other's best allies by far.
Yeah.
We deeply adore and love each other. We
respect each other.
We respect each other. We get along immensely, and it's so satisfying, and it just gets better year after year.
Yeah.
And so we are big believers that men and women are the greatest allies on the planet.
Yes.
I mean, look at us.
Yes.
We have been solid, just like our clients. Every client that has met their partner that I know of, they're still together. And they trust each other more and more.
And when you work together as this like beautiful unit, right? Like this divinely designed unit of men and women, like we are better together. We're more powerful together. We're stronger together, right? It's like, I don't have to do all of the things. Jonathan doesn't have to do all of the things because we each have our individual roles. Now our roles aren't super rigid, like maybe in the 1950s, like, but I get to operate in my feminine zone of genius, and Jonathan gets to operate in his masculine zone of genius, and because of that we're such a team, you know, and it's like it makes me so sad because of so much of the cultural rhetoric that's been going on now for years, really, I mean, decades now, but it's really been ramped over the last few years since the pandemic. What makes me so sad about it is like we don't know what we're missing, right? Like women don't know what they're missing. We don't know what we're missing not having our complement at our side. And one of the things that's really made me sad also about what's come out in the last week, it's like that suspicion and that lack of trust towards each other, and that feeling of like, who can I trust? Can I even trust anyone? This feeling of like hypervigilance around like, oh my gosh, I can't trust the government. I can't trust institutions. I can't trust anybody in power. Who can I trust, right? And so it's like that seed of mistrust is being more deeply implanted within us, right? It's making us more fearful. It's making us more paranoid. It's making us more distrustful. And it's not conducive to us creating the kind of relationship that we truly desire with the opposite sex.
Okay. Yeah. And there's a huge cultural thing. And also what makes me sad on more of a personal level is a lot of our ladies know they need a man. They want a man.
Yes.
They want him to lead. They want a husband. But the problem is they've been hurt.
Yeah.
And they will do things that got them hurt before and do them again and again and not realize if they learn a certain way, they get the man. They get the good man, and they get him for life. And it's not rocket science. You don't have to change a million things. They make it overcomplicated all the time.
100%. Yeah.
But you do need to know a number of things. And so we're going to cover 3 topics that will help you if you want to have a husband and find the men you can trust and avoid the ones that you can't.
Yeah.
Because I don't trust men. I don't trust any men. They have to, we'll get into this in stage 1. I kind of trust the masculine, and we give men the benefit of the doubt overall.
Yes, and that's we have to move through our suspicion of the opposite sex towards the opposite sex, right, and move into discernment.
Yeah.
And that's a real difference, because I feel like often women are just suspicious, and they'll think it's like, oh, I'm being discerning, or I'm being selective or whatever, but it's actually just, she's just guarded, and she's got her walls up, and she's being suspicious.
All the time.
Yeah.
Many people. So that's our first thought. That's our first of 3 things that you have to do to start trusting men. And it's maybe number 1 overall anyways, is you have to go through a proven discernment vetting process. Most people don't know this, and it takes time. They will open their hearts to a guy way too early.
Yeah.
They will let him push for intimacy before it's the right time. They will let him claim way too early.
She will, a lot of the time women will be like, he makes me feel so amazing. I can't remember the last time I felt like this in my life, right? He just gives me, it's like fireworks and butterflies, and it's like, oh my gosh, right? He's got to be the one, right? And so we open our hearts up, we splay our hearts in premature devotion to a man, even though you've just met the guy, right? Even though he's evoking these strong feelings within you, maybe he's lighting you on fire with, the sparks are flying and all these things. But your feelings are not facts. Like the sensations in your body, the chemistry that you're feeling is not the ultimate truth of who this man is. And what we like, this is one of the things that why you have to slow everything down. And you have to slow everything down and actually go on a proven discernment vetting journey with a man.
Yeah, and we get this in courtship all the time because it just elevates everything to courtly love, which is what most of our clients want. And so they'll have the best dates of their lives. This is the best man I've ever met. And we're like, slow it down and go through the whole process. And what I love about the process is it's going to solve an issue that a lot of these ladies have,
What's that?
Testing men.
Let's talk about that.
You don't test the man. The system of courtship, and it's this vetting kind of system that we have in our 4-month Kings Road program, it tests the men for you. So you get to go on the dates and have fun, and the men get to show up nobly again and again and again. Or they'll knock themselves out at different times depending on if they're a good suitor or not.
Yes. And the thing about it is, like, you need enough time in your discernment journey, right? You need enough time and enough space to really be able to see, like, who a man is. You really need enough time for him to be able to reveal his character to you, right? And one of the things women do is they're vetting according to feelings alone, or they're vetting based on chemistry alone, or they're vetting on, like, okay, he chose me, therefore I have to just go with him, right? Or he's super masculine, or whatever it is. Like, they're vetting according to the wrong criteria. And they're going all in with a man way, way, way too soon, instead of over a period of time watching and observing and seeing how he shows up, seeing, like, his character as he reveals himself to you over time. And again, this isn't you're testing him, like, I'm just gonna, he's got to prove himself to me, like he's man enough. That's not what we're doing here. It's like you're showing up in your vulnerable heart, you're showing up in your receptive femininity, and a man will rise in response to that if he is a good man.
Yeah.
And if he's not, then that's the system, right? That's what we teach in our 4-month program.
What do you think is the number one? He's not a good man and he snuck in. What's he looking for?
Yeah, I mean, it becomes very, very clear very quickly.
But what's he looking for?
He's looking for physical. He's looking for sex
or an ego boost.
Yeah.
Both, and he might be a narcissist. We don't get these in our program. Like, maybe a date max, but we never have these situations.
You filter them out sooner.
The narcissists are gone like that. I think it helps that we have a feminine and masculine perspective along with the vetting process. Like, I always know what these men are up to before.
You do.
Like, recently we had a situation in this, I can't believe it. I'm like, I saw this guy. I warned her about it, and it happened.
But because she went through the vetting system, right, she didn't end up she wasn't, physically intimate, or she didn't, open her heart up in a way that could really put her at risk of getting deeply hurt, right? So she didn't do any of that. She actually put him through the system, and he revealed himself to her. He revealed his intentions. And thank God for that, right? He revealed it early on.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure. We give the benefit of the doubt. And the great thing is she got to a next stage and a next level.
Yes.
But it does that in a safe way.
Yes.
You don't get hurt. You don't get physically attached. And there's no true crime in courtship, as I say. We don't get in those situations.
And this is something we talk about a lot, too, is the fact that, like, women will not do this discernment journey, right? They won't go on a proper vetting journey, and then they'll get themselves in bad situations because they don't actually take the time and the space to let a man reveal himself to her, right? And so then she'll, like, get her heart broken, right? Or she'll experience pain, right? She'll fall on her face, and then she'll make it mean that, like, oh, all men suck. I'm going to be suspicious of men.
Yeah.
And, modern dating sucks, or online dating sucks, or there's no good men out there. And it creates this self-fulfilling prophecy that just perpetuates more suspicion and just feeds into that cycle of lack of trust.
Yeah.
But if you took the time to actually discern and actually vet, you would see who is trustworthy and who isn't. And that's the important piece.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm very solution oriented. I don't like to go around saying society this and that. And everyone, I'd say every woman I have a call with, a love connection call with, has had some type of past that hurt, and they're ready to do a new way. And it's just fun because I always compare courtship to like powder skiing, where if you fall down, it doesn't hurt. It actually, like we don't see people get hurt in our work, and it's just so beautiful. And then the right men step up, and then the right man steps up.
Yes.
In right timing and right order. Men and women both. Men don't understand this process either. And what's cool is if one of you learns it, the other will get it, and you'll go into the dance.
The dance.
Yeah, this courtship dance. So one is the time in giving time for a proper vetting process.
Yes.
And that actually is a little more complex. And if you need help with that, our Kings Road program does that and does it in depth. But it takes time. It's not like you can read a quick book or always get, what app should I go on? That's not going to solve this overall problem of being single and needing a good man. Like, this is my big issue is, well, we can't trust men, but I see single women as very unprotected in this world.
Yes, exactly.
I want to get them a good man
this is
so
the crazy
they
part
can
about
fight
it.
off the bad men out there.
This is the most devastating part about it, is that, like, we need each other. We really, really do.
I need you.
I need you too, Angel.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was one. Should we?
Yeah, so what was number two?
Number two was, and Claudia just wrote about this, it's about having an open heart. You're not going with like this gated barbed wire heart, but it's an open heart with boundaries, or as you said, a feminine spine.
Yes.
So maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, it's really important when we're going on a discernment journey, or we're going on a journey of dating to marriage, that your heart is both open, right? And you're also, like in the scripture says, it's to guard your heart, but you also don't want to guard your heart in the sense that it's just like walled up, right? And it's like you're in this state of avoidance, and like I can't let any man get near me, or no man is good enough, or no man matches my standards, right? These are all the types of things that you'll hear like women with a lot of avoidant patterning saying, because their walls are like way up high, usually because they've experienced some deep wounding in their past, right? And so we don't want that case. We don't want you to be like your walls are all the way up and a man can't feel you, and you're not receptive, you're not vulnerable, you're not in this space of giving him the benefit of the doubt, right? Offering him grace until he gives you a reason not to, right? That's what we're going for. So you want to have this like this duality, or this integration of your heart and your spine, of having an open heart, of showing up receptive, showing up gracious, showing up vulnerable, right? Showing up warm, showing up with your heart, not like where you're wearing your heart on your sleeve and you're like, oh, I'm just going to give my heart to you, right? And I'm just going to like devote myself to you even though I barely know who you are. That's not what we're talking about. You're just showing up on a date with like from a space of like, yeah, I'm on this journey of receptivity, right? Of receptivity and discernment, right? So you're showing up with this receptive, open, vulnerable, feminine heart, and you're seeing how a man responds to that. You're seeing how a man treats you, how he steps into that void, how he steps into that space that you create for him from that place of being open and receptive and soft, right? And then when you do that, you can see, okay, how does he step in? How does he show up? How does he rise? Is he a gentleman? Is he kind? Is he noble? Is he chivalrous? Or not so much? Is he pushing for intimacy? Is he pushing for sex? Is he, trying to claim me even though we barely just met? Is he trying to make me his own even though we've only been on a few dates? Okay, then you know this man isn't for you, and you have to be able to sit in that spine. You have to be able to sit in that strength to be like, this is not for me. This man, and this man who's showing up in a way that is not okay, or is not ultimately aligned with what I desire. This man is showing up in a way that is not in alignment with the marriage-minded man that I'm looking for. Then you have to be able to let him go, right? So it's that posture of receptivity and discernment. You're starting at receptive, and then you see how he shows up in response to that, and then you can say yes, or no, or wait and see, right? And so that is that beautiful dance, that those two postures, as you know, we want to embody as women, of being both receptive and discerning in your courtship journey. And so it's like having an open heart, but also being connected to your feminine spine.
Exactly. And having the right system and boundaries lets you go on an easy first date, a coffee, an easy second date, dinner, an easy third date, the museum. Like, people rush ahead and they invest way early, and it creates all this tension in situations. But when you have the system and the boundaries, you can open your heart to be safe. You can let the boundaries that are set there and the system do the work for you. And then there are some magic tricks for these nuanced things. If he pushes for sex, probably not the one.
Oh yeah, definitely not the one.
If he claims you too early, and that happens all the time in our work because ladies are very attractive. They're appreciative. They're receptive. All these things.
We show them how to show up from that space.
They're not getting this in the culture. And so when they get that, they want that. And sometimes they want to marry that or claim way too early. And that can be a red flag, but it also might be he's really excited. And so we have feminine communication boundaries and skills to slow it down and see.
Yeah.
And I'd say 50% of the time it's a great guy, 50% we're going to get out.
He filters himself out.
But he'll filter himself out a little bit later on and in a safe way. And the others, but a lot of I think what's happening with this mistrust and not having a good system and an open heart is good men are getting filtered out way quick.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like there are probably so many people that have met a good marriageable match on a first date and just tossed them out. Like, and that's all it is. A first date is what leads to marriage eventually, right? And so when you have all of this intact, an open heart and the boundaries, it lets you have a vetting system that you can trust, and also it's going to let you vet men by having an open heart, because if you don't, the men, you're going to attract the wrong men anyway.
Or they're not going to come in anyway at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Or the ones that do aren't going to be so hot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you have to have these boundaries, because when you are open-hearted and appreciative in this, they're going to want to claim.
Yes.
Because the men are not getting
They're
this.
not getting that. It's such a special thing. Yeah.
You and I are always waiting on these dates to see, is he getting it?
Yeah.
And then if he gets it, we're like, this could be it. This could be the one. We never say it is right away. The girls might, it could be the one. Okay.
We're just going to play that out.
Let's play it out. But when they get that, it can click in really well.
Rosanna says, I love that, being receptive, but also discerning. Yeah, exactly. Holding the duality of that. It's so, so important. It's really everything.
Yeah, and we live in a pendulum culture. Well, I was open, so I'm going to get totally guarded in this, or I was guarded in this. So
I can't trust any man. Yeah, like I was way too open, and I just opened myself up to this man. I opened my heart up to him. I opened my womb up to him, right? And then I got totally hurt. No, I can't trust any man, right? And so we do these extreme pendulum swings, from being super open to super just shut down. It's, our attachment styles get very, very our attachment system gets very out of whack because of this. And so, we really need to learn to have that balance of receptivity and discernment and boundaries.
Yeah, I am always amazed by that, though. Women who have been hurt, more than me, because I've never dated men. I've definitely been hurt by men. I played football. But these women will take risks that I would never suggest, or let themselves in situations. So we've learned over time to be gentle but really tough love coaches, especially from the beginning. Like early on, we weren't quite catching the things as well. Like, no, you cannot sleep with this guy for this amount of time.
Yeah.
No, you cannot be claimed.
Yes.
But it'd be amazing to see women who'd be hurt would be so ready to be open and then get hurt again in that way.
Yeah, and it's like the women who are so open often end up becoming the most avoidant, because it's like they've gotten the most hurt.
Yeah.
But there's ways to set your, once you know better, right? Once you have the wisdom that hopefully your life has given you, or, hopefully you encounter somebody who can support you along the way, like, us or someone else, right? But that having that wisdom to really be okay, I'm not going to do it this way anymore. It's so, so valuable.
You know what, too? I think this is part of the bifurcation.
Yeah.
You have women, I can't tell you how many calls I get from single women who have done all the feminine embodiment in the world, and they're desperately single, and they're like, why did this not solve it?
Yeah.
And you have men being hyper masculine over there, but it's a nuanced thing of being open with boundaries. And a lot of these ladies that are taught to just be feminine all the time, one, it doesn't give you a vetted system to get married. Yeah, you'll have great experiences with masculine, but you might also have a lot of not so great. And it's not built for the marathon of going from single all the way to married for life. That's a different skill and process than feminine embodiment work. We do a lot of that, but you've got to balance it with the system and the boundaries and the whole thing.
You're a systems guy.
Not all the way, because we've tried when we get over systems. That's not.
Yeah,
so
no,
funny.
I know. We need that system just to hold the whole thing together.
Yeah, we say it's chess, not checkers, but it's like basic chess. You don't have to be Bobby Fischer here. You have to be like.
We were watching figure skating last night, like Olympic figure skating, and we were like, courtship is so much easier.
Oh, yeah.
Or it's easier than this.
The downhill skiing, it's way easier than that. You can ski green runs and get your husband.
It's not an Olympic sport. No,
not at all.
But it is a little bit like there's a nuance to it, right? There's a dance to it. And there's pitfalls to avoid, especially in the world that we're living in right now, where people are more suspicious and you do want to be more discerning. But you also don't want to just be like, oh, screw men or screw women, right? Because then they've won, right?
Yeah, and then all the men go over here, all the women come here, and we don't have marriage and families and babies, which are the coolest things on planet Earth.
That's right.
But the thing is, we're looking for people in that middle spectrum.
Yeah.
And there's tons there. There's millions.
Yeah.
But we have to be more discerning than ever, but it's also probably a better time than ever to get married and go on this journey if you know the way.
If you know the way.
If you don't, it's probably a great time to run into romantic landmines, you know. I wanted to say one more thing about that expertise.
Yes.
What I love about courtship, it's like, it is a lot like skiing. I think I could teach anyone to master skiing in about 4 months. And it's the same with this. You really, by the end of the 4-month program of the King's Road, the ladies are answering the questions. I'll even say, what do you do in this situation? And they'll all answer the other person's questions because they know. Now, most of our clients meet their husbands within 4, 5, 6, 9 months. But they've mastered it by that point.
Yes.
And so it's not like learning Italian. You know, courtship is actually something that can be mastered in kind of a graceful, easy way.
Yes.
With some expertise over a few months. So that said, should we go into number 3 of this topic?
Yeah, I'd love to go into number 3.
Okay.
What's number 3?
This is one you talked about.
Oh, yeah.
And in the beginning, I'm like, what is she? Really? Is this such a situation? And I think a couple years into this work, we've been doing this for 8 years now, I believe.
Yeah.
But about 2 years in, I was like, oh, wow. Claudia is so dead on about the picker.
The picker.
Most ladies have...
The picker. Their picker needs some help.
Their picker is off. Maybe it's also the languaging of that made me laugh. Like, oh, it's a picker. But that's number 3 for sure.
Ladies, your picker. Come on.
The picker is off.
Get your picker. We gotta fix your picker.
Fix your picker. That was what 3 was.
Jonathan and I were talking the other day. We were kind of joking around and be like, women need to stop dating Chads.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that like women will go for, these like hyper masculine alpha male types who may be very attractive, they may be ripped, they may make a lot of money, they may be very dominant, they may, be very like, they may be very persistent, they may be very confident, they may be like, okay, I'm going to pursue her, right? And that's very attractive. They might have a lot of charisma, and it can be very, it can produce a lot of sensation in the female system, a lot of like that swoon sensation, right, in the female system, the female body. And that swoon, I hate to break it to you, ladies, but that swoon is not always your friend.
Well.
That, especially when you feel that swoon like early on with a guy, especially when he's taking you out, he picks you up in his fancy car, and he takes you out on this date, and he takes you to this expensive restaurant, and he pays for the $300 meal, and then he drives you all around all over the place, and he and it's like this, he takes you on this like whirlwind romantic adventure, and he's very charming, and he puts the moves on, right? And then you're like, woo, right? There's this swoon thing happening. But this does not tell you anything about whether this man is husband material or not. This literally tells you nothing about that. The swoon that you feel based on a man's like charisma or a man's, like his game, right, has literally nothing to do with him being husband material. And a lot of the good guys, the good, masculine, noble-hearted men that our clients end up with are a little bit quieter, or they're a little bit, they don't have as much game always. They're maybe a little bit shyer, or they're a little bit like more intentional. They aren't so loud and like in that peacocking kind of alpha male posture that alpha males can sometimes. Now, I'm not saying all alpha males are bad. I think alpha males, you can definitely have success with alpha males. Super dominant alpha males, if they're connected to their heart,
yes,
as well.
Yes.
If they're servant, like their leadership is like servant, other oriented, as well as like their own. But sometimes these guys can tend to end up being a little bit on the narcissistic spectrum of things. So I'll get off my soapbox, but this is the biggest issue that we see with the picker, right? The men who are players, the men who are ultimately after one thing, the men who put on the charisma, they put on the charm, they know how to say all the right things, they got the game right, they make you go, right? Because maybe you've been deprived of masculinity, and so you're like, oh, this guy's so masculine, right? Woo, right? But ultimately, after like date 1 or 2, and he wants to sleep with you, and you're like, no, right? And then he goes away. Well, that's all the information you need to know about if this man is a husband material man or not.
Yeah, and that's been one of the harder ones in the past, is women that will not date other types, because we can show a million
things. Help these women.
But if you're not looking for something a little different than that, often. But if he's godly.
He's got to be godly.
If he's godly, he's a winner. And we've had plenty of alpha or masculine men, but they have big, noble hearts.
They're humble. Yeah.
They're humble. There's a humbleness, because those guys are great for the sprint. They're great for like that jolt of
that dopamine.
Dopamine, that's what it is. But they're not going to make the marathon of marriage. They're just not.
Yeah,
and,
the chads.
Yeah, the chads, and it can go the other way too. Some women will have that experience, and they'll go for the super like wimpy, ultra like beta guy. I don't want to label people, but why don't you?
Passive guy.
Why don't you choose? Where do you want to go? And they're always like that. But there's this balance in between. I always think of my dad. I'm getting people my dad. He's a masculine dude, but he's very sweet, and he's usually quiet.
Yeah.
And yet he has an authority that few men I know have.
I'm thinking about also one of the guys that one of our clients is married to now. She, when she met us, she was kind of on a journey of discernment with him. But yeah, he's so solid. He's her provider. He's he like fixes up their house, and he's just a super, super solid guy, right? But he had been like overlooked by all of these other women. I think he was early 40s, maybe late 30s. He had been like overlooked. The reason why he wasn't married yet was because he had been overlooked by all these women who were looking for the chads, right? Because he was a little bit more soft-spoken. He was a little bit quieter. He wasn't this sort of loud and like hyper, alpha male type. He's masculine, but he's also connected to his heart.
It's weird because he seems alpha, and I think a lot of them seem alpha, but they're not this narcissistic whatever alpha. I mean, I play golf with him, and he swatted 290 yards. Wow.
Yeah.
He's a stud. I got to say he's a stud of our century, but he's a good, I'm always looking for who's going to be a good father. Like, even if you don't have kids, he's got to be the father of the family.
Yeah.
And those chads, they're such bad fathers, and you can
bad
feel
news.
It. They're on the hunt for the treasure to get grabbed and then move on to the next one and the next one. It's almost like a conquistador attitude.
Absolutely.
And I understand why women are attracted to it. And we can find men that have that in them. I mean, I like to go on the good hunt too. but we're looking for something that's actually quite more special than that. It's actually rare. And when women start having the eye for this, they start seeing kings everywhere. You know, there's like, wow, these kings were around me all the time, but I was kind of looking at it, it's quite saying the Chads.
Or the tyrants or the narcissists, or like however you want to think about that. Like men who are they're really like on an ego trip, and they're not. But this is the problem, that why with the question of like how to start trusting men again, because it's like when a woman is conditioned to biologically, and there is a reason biologically where we go for the most like, you know, dominant alpha male type, because it's like, oh, you know, he's the top of the tribe, right? He's the head of the like, how do I want to say that? He's like at the top, right? And so you want to pass on his genes, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that your biology is always the best vetting tool alone, right? The chemistry that you feel with a man like that is not the only thing that you want to base your journey of discernment on. In fact, I would say it's just one factor amongst other factors. Yes, you do want to be attracted to a man, but that should not be the only thing that you're betting on at all.
No.
But this, going back to this question of like how to start trusting men again, is that when a woman starts dating, right, and she's attracted to this alpha male type, she's attracted to this hyper masculine type of man because that's biologically who she's wired to be attracted to, or there's other factors too. I'm not going to get into that right now. But she's looking for that, right? She's looking for that masculinity. And then when she discovers that masculinity, that type of man that she's been going after, that type of masculine blueprint, right? That archetype that she's been feeling attracted to, there may be a lot of polarity there. There may be a lot of chemistry, but she's going to get her heart broken. He's not going to treat her well. He's going to be selfish. He's going to be self-oriented. He's going to be conquest-oriented. He's going to not care about you, care about your heart. He's probably going to be after one thing. And so you will ultimately come to the conclusion that men are untrustworthy. They're not trustworthy. They're all toxic. They're all narcissists, right? And I think this is why we get into that self-fulfilling prophecy, why we get into that cycle of all men are this way, because it's like when your picker is off, your picker is broken or it's not working properly, right? You're going to pick the wrong men, and then you're going to come to the conclusion that all men are like this, when this is not true at all. There are so many good men that are actually being overlooked. And these are the men that we want to help our clients find.
Yeah, there's a phenomenon of women on the internet finding each other and crying about how this is going on, and no one wants to get married in this, but it's obvious this is what they're doing. In fact, there's a lot of men that will then comment on that and say it. So it is a phenomenon.
Yeah, and it's easy to get cynical, right? It's easy to get really cynical and jaded and mistrustful and like, I can't trust anyone, there's no good men, and I'm just going to be alone for the rest of my life. If you shift these three things that we talked about, if you have a proven discernment journey, if you lead with an open heart, but also have that discernment and those boundaries, and if you learn if you really heal, or you heal your picker, you get it working properly, and you really, you know actually what to look for in a man, you know what makes a man husband material and what makes a man not husband material, then you will actually start trusting men. You'll be like, oh, there's actually a lot of good men out there. I was deceived. I didn't have eyes to see. I had these blind spots, right? It was me. And this is something that we help you move through in our work.
Yeah, just a last thought on the last one too is, I think a lot of women are attracted to the narcissist type in this. And I can tell you what they're going to do. They're going to love bomb. They're going to try to thrill you in the beginning. Oh, the expensive dinner. But to me, they seem like jokers. Like, they don't seem like serious contenders.
Yeah.
And they certainly don't seem sincere in their heart. And once you get this and you get these 3 steps, it takes a little bit of time, but then you get your husband. And that's what we love about this work, is like, as much as we love the process and We come from these cultures of like transformation. We like results. We like to help people go all the way from the gauntlet, as I say, from single to engaged and married. And most of our clients, that if they're coachable and you're committed and determined, they find them within 9 months. Could be a year. We just had someone that did a year. She took it a little slower, found her person, but they find them. And it's not like love is this huge mystery. It is, but you can know the way. And if you'd like to know the way, if in 2026 you want to have your husband, you're ready for your person, it's like your top priority, we want to talk to you because that's who we work with. We don't do all this other stuff. We help single women get married. It's our specialty, and we've done it since 2017. So if you're interested, we have now opened up the Kings Road. It starts March 4th. We have a love connection call you can do with me where we'll go and talk about your love life and see if we can help. And if we do, it's a good fit. We'll get you started on that. And it'll be the best love call you've ever had about your love life. So if you're interested, we're going to put a link below. And we really would love to have you in the Kings Road and help you have your husband by, I can't believe I'm saying this, by 2027. Wow, that's coming up.
That's
but
crazy.
like, if you want to solve that problem and like be married, reach out to us because we really, most people we can help.
Yeah, ladies. I mean, like, I just want to say there really are lots of good men out there. There are lots of good marriage-minded men out there, but you have to get out of your own way, and you do, especially you've been trying this on your own for a while, like having that support, having someone handhold you, having somebody like walk you through a process that actually has been proven to work over and over and over again, and who can help you see, especially Jonathan, he's really, really good at this, help you be like, yeah, this man's okay. This man, there's potential here. We're going to see this man. We got to get him out. Right. So like somebody who can really help you be in your corner and discern who is the man that you're going to ultimately marry is just invaluable.
Yeah. And that's my expertise. Claudia's to a huge degree. And she's really great at getting you the right approach, the feminine way of actually bringing men that you haven't had come in and having them come in the ways that delight you. Like I'm not so great about the feminine embodiment stuff, and I think that's our magic combination in the Kings Road. So if you're interested, we're going to put a link below, set up a free call. I'd love to talk with you, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, can't wait to speak with you, ladies. All right, ciao for now.